Alright, we're back. Here is the second half of the La Ventana videos. There's nothing special happening in this one. I'll have a few do's and don'ts, tips and tricks on it. But for the most part, it's just generally shooting fish. I do apologize to some of my awesome dive partners on the boat right there. I did lose just about all the mahi-mahi footage, so there'll be none of that on this trip. But yeah, let's get wet. Well, would you look at that? It's already shish kebab. It's ready for the grill. As you can see here on the bottom, structure-wise, I've got these two nice big boulders to my left. They'll kind of give fish peeks at me, and it'll help draw them in a bit closer if they can't see everything that's going on. So this is kind of a structure you're looking for when you're on bottom. Despite none of the fish that are congregating around me being really the ones I want, it's actually a really good position to be in, because when other fish see there's something going on that's attracting all these other fish, they'll get curious and they'll want to come in as well. So if you're having this kind of movement around yourself when you're on bottom, that's perfect. Just stick it out. This next fish is nothing impressive, but it is a species that we have in Hawaii. Wendy and I also caught a few of them on our last trip to La Paz, and we love them. They're delicious. You can either have them in like a soy sauce boil, or you can just deep fry them, and they stay really moist, and they're delicious. There weren't very many of them on this trip down in La Ventana, so when one did come through, I had to take it so we could share it with our friends and they could see what all the hype was about. I wouldn't recommend catching any of them that are smaller than a pound. It's just not going to be worth your while. So underwater, look for the ones that are about a foot long. You see that? You see that? I'm like a magician just throwing fish out there. Came out of nowhere. On a side note, if you do that, where I just swam to the bottom and I threw some chum out, be aware of those eels. One, they're going to come for the chum, and two, if you just had all that chum on your hands, now your hand smells like a fish. Don't wave it in front of an eel. In fact, don't let the eel get too close to your hand. It could be a bad time. And it tore off. This is part of why I will never do the fish on my spear ever again. There were a few times when we were diving, though, that the boat was too far away to retrieve, or it just didn't notice I had a fish. So that's when I would keep it on top of my shaft. But for the most part, it acting as an attractor, I'm not going to bother doing it again. It may have acted as an attractor, but I really didn't like how it threw my aim off. This fish here is a green barred snapper. They are very delicious. All the large snappers we've had in the Baja trips have been delicious, and this, because they're one of the easier ones to catch, has been a favorite. I like easy, yummy fish. Here's a little spearfishing style I haven't done in quite some time. I've been doing the lazy method, but back in the younger and really want to get them days, I'd find me some reef outcroppings and really sandwich myself in between them. It comes in handy in areas with a bit more surge. Don't get me wrong though, you will tear up your wetsuit in a surgy area like this. As you can see, I've got some fish in mind. They've got or reef behind them, so I wait till they pass the reef, then I take them a shot. Now, they were just cruising along. I knew they would pass the reef with no issue. They wouldn't dart on me. So that's why I was able to wait. Sometimes you can't wait on the shot. You just got to take it. But luckily I was able to wait. So this shot here is about what you should do after you shot a fish. It's not a stone shot and you need to retrieve it. What you're going to see me do here is shoot the fish and I throw the spear gun behind me. I don't pull on the line to get to it. I don't grab the shaft. Just throw that gun behind you. It will float up. It won't tangle on anything. Then you work your way up to the shaft and you get your fish. What I've seen some people do is they will end up wrapping the shooting line around their hands and pulling at the fish or pulling their way forward. I would like to recommend not doing that. There's a large amount of line. It could get tangled on your belt. It could get tangled on your watch or anything. And if for whatever reason you need to go up and you haven't gotten that fish off the bottom and maybe the shaft is stuck in the reef, it could lead to a precarious situation. You could panic. It can all just be avoided by tossing the spear gun behind you. Now, I will also mention, I understand how some folks feel about parrotfish in the Baja Peninsula. two things I'll say about this. I'm going to say it one time, never again. My captain said it was okay. And then two, we actually did see a large amount of them, and we did not shoot every single one that we saw. When we would go to a new location, if we saw an abundance of them, we would take one or two, and we wouldn't touch any others until we went to a different location. And I'm from Hawaii. You know we eat our parrotfish down there. We even ran into a TSA guy. I think he's actually leaving Mexico, and he was from Hawaii. And he was asking, did you shoot any parrotfish? He was excited because he'll eat them too. But yeah, Hawaii folks will eat parrotfish. Be careful.
This the one you say you like?
That wasn't the safety on. That was deciding I didn't want that fish after all. Oh man, you could hear me trying to clear my ears the whole way down. Yes, I was sick on this trip, and I had to. I mean, I'm not gonna give up diving, so you just pump that Sudafed, get in the water, and learn how to clear. And I had to adjust how I normally clear, and it was interesting because I had to clear like every foot, and I had to be perfect on timing. I had to be perfect on top of the initial drop, the duck dive, and everything. And I came back to my dive partners. I was like, I can clear, but man, I'm having to clear every single foot. It's just nonstop clears, like clear mass, equalize mass, clear ears, equalize mass, clear ears, just nonstop the whole way down. Even when I'm on bottom, if I'm crawling around, there's a 1 foot change in depth I have to clear. And they turned to me and said, "Screw you. That's how it's always like for us." Oh, you poor things.
They're just so easy.
Captain says they're good.
I bet they are.
We'll take them home and eat them.
It's about a wrap up for this video. There's just this shot, a couple of fish shots, and I'll throw some pictures up at the end. I might just be prejudiced about it, but you know, in regards to what I'm going to recommend for you starting your spearfishing journey and getting to the point where you're traveling abroad, starting here in Washington is absolutely wonderful. Washington, Oregon. The fish are really easy to get your foundations on. Even crabbing or diving for crab is a great way to build up your foundations as far as getting comfortable on the bottom, comfortable waiting for fish to come in, searching for fish, taking shots, aiming underwater, and just getting to know your gear. And then the prejudice part is that I say go to Hawaii next. It's right there. And in the next video, it's going to be some of our Big Island footage. And it's going to be focusing on some of the really good beginner fish for you to work on. They're readily available if you know what to look for. They're abundant, so there's really not a question of taking away a lot of natural or prized fish. And they will help you learn some lessons because, as I've always said, the hardest fish to shoot in the Pacific Northwest is about 6 times easier than the easiest fish to shoot in Hawaii. So you're gonna learn a lot, you're gonna grow a lot, and I hope to help you out with that with the next video we put out. Thank you for watching. I just had to throw it in here. One of the most favorite things about gathering anything, whether it be ocean, mushrooms, or anything like that, is bringing it back and sharing it with loved ones or even total strangers. And on this trip, everyone else was out and about running around during the day when I was in the room sick. And they made friends with some folks who were staying at a nearby hostel. And one of the evenings, we went there with our fresh catch. You saw that giant mahi mahi, which was Wendy's catch. And we served up sashimi, sushi, and some cooked fish for dinner with a bunch of people that we've only just made friends with that week. And that's just a fun, awesome experience.